studies me. She makes a weird gurgling noise, like someone is trying to laugh underwater. Your head is yellow. She walks/glides back to the dock. I run all the way back home, the piss cooling on my pants. The next day grandfather makes me bring some food as an offering to the lake, to thank the Guishin for not harming me. I like to think that I made her day. Here's some info on the Jindos. Korea's national dog. Kinda looks like a Shiba, but taller, leggier, and just more brutal. Comes in 3 colors, white, tan, and black/tan. Hardy little fuckers, skinny as hell but they can take out your legs like it's nothing. Protective as fuck about territory. Stubborn bastards these are, you can't train them like a Labrador Retriever to do cute tricks or sit for their food or not bite annoying children, but they'll give their lives to protect you and your home. In Korean superstition, white Jindos chase away evil spirits, tan Jindos can fight their way out of anything, and black Jindos make spirits accept you as one of them. Grandfather rarely had black Jindos, he was a fighter, so he had a bunch of tan Jindos and some white ones for the kids, as it was illegal you can't own a gun in Korea lol. Pick related. Korean troll, anyone? B11. Our toughest tan Jindo died, more on this later, so grandfather got another one. He's a hard one even when he's a puppy. Loyal as fuck to grandfather and Jin. By the time he's 1 year old he's bigger and brawnier than the other dogs. His name is Suku. One day Jin wants to go down to the creek and catch some fish. Grandfather tells her to take a white Jindo, but she takes Suku. Contemplate going with her, but I was helping grandmother out with some chores so I stayed behind. Besides, I get the feeling that her mom has started to hate me being around her too much. A few hours later we hear something that sounds like a tiger from the mountains. I ask grandfather, as tigers are probably extinct in Korea. Might be Dukaibi. Dukaibi are pretty much Korean trolls. They don't really mean serious harm, but they're strong as fuck and enjoy messing with people. Sometimes they'll unwittingly drive someone mad or kill them. The sun is going down but Jin and Suku aren't home yet. Grandfather starts getting worried. Sometime later we see Jin running home alone, screaming. She says a human hand, but clawed, came out of the bushes. She ran home, but the last she saw was Suku jumping into the bush to fight whatever was there. Her parents try to reason and say it was probably a lost person. Grandfather brushes this off. You two were raised in the city and know nothing, why would a lost person be this far away from a town? Then we see something run towards the house from far away. It's fucking Suku. He has a fucking leg in his mouth. It's like a human leg, except way bigger and covered in hair. It's gnawed through the thigh but there's no blood, just a weird watery stuff splattered all over it and Suku. Grandfather confirms it's a Dukaibi, and throws out the leg deep in the mountains. We put out food for about a week as an apology to its clan. They leave human-like shits in our yard, as a sort of fuck you, for about a month. The thing about growing up in rural Korea as a foreigner is that if you run into a spirit, they're either going to be extra hostile towards you, or they're going to be too busy laughing at you to kill you. The closest school was half an hour away, so grandfather would drive me and Jin to school every morning. There were only 7 kids in our grade. Only 3 graduated. The rest either died or moved to the city. The kids were pretty cruel and ganged up on me a lot, calling me names like Yellow Monkey or Yankee on German LMAO. Grandfather thought school was shit, so he let me skip school as long as I showed up for exams and passed them. When I was 10 he got me my very own white Jindo which I named Baku. Exploring the mountains and picking/eating mushrooms one day. Hear something rustle in the bushes, and Baku starts whimpering, cowering. A black dog-like creature slings out from the bushes. Freeze in my tracks. I wasn't sure if he was friendly or malicious, but Baku was clearly scared and pissing himself. It looks like a cross between a big dog and a leopard, but has a long, almost trunk-like snout. The fur looks like it's ablaze and smoldering, although there is no fire or heat. The thing makes a snarling/growling motion, but no sound comes out of its mouth. convinced that this is how I die. I hear a gunshot go off in the distance and remember that grandfather has his illegal gun. Another gunshot goes off, this time so close to my ears my whole skull feels like it's ringing and I can see the bullet whiz by. The fucking thing chases after the bullet and is gone. I hightail it out of there with my dog and grandfather. What I ran into turned out to be a Bulgari. They eat fire and metal, and are highly hostile. Apparently, as this one had claimed the deep mountains as its home, we were forbidden to go that deep from then on. One thing about Korean ghosts, both docile and malicious, is that they're very much like people. You can reason with them, most of the time, trick them, scare them, and even make friends. Of course if you just want them to fuck off the best thing you can do is start singing, although grandfather said this could potentially attract Kai B. B14. Go to school one day because fuck it. When school ends, leave book bag in classroom and go out with Jin to throw out the trash. No janitors at school so kids help out with the work. Go to pick up bag while Jin waits outside. Teacher is standing with her back to the door, just kinda staring at something on the wall. Say goodbye, she doesn't respond. Get slightly nervous, so ask her if she's okay. She turns around and oh shit she doesn't have a face. Daigyaryuation are malicious spirits that act just like people, but have no face, hence the name, Daigyari means egg. From what I know, they'll usually leave you alone as long as you don't point out their lack of face or act disgusted. The thing acts just like the teacher and it's just heading way too close to the uncanny valley now. Creeped out, but also kinda pissed because I'm a moody teenager and I just want to go home. It starts talking, and even its voice sounds like my teacher. Anon, do you think I'm pretty? Bitch you don't even have a face. I don't want to piss these things off because Korean ghosts get vicious as fuck when they're mad. If I say you're pretty it will say I'm lying because it clearly doesn't have a face. If I say you're not pretty it will say I'm disgusted at its lack of face. I just want to go home and play with my goddamn dog and go fishing. Start singing the Korean national anthem really loudly. Thing starts screaming, sounding equally angry. I hear the classroom door open and the screaming stops abruptly. Anon, what are you doing? It's the actual teacher. Run home and bitch about guishins with Jin. Things started falling apart by my mid-teen years. I believe this was because grandfather was getting old and weak, but it just may be because I was pretty messed up emotionally and whatever spirits out there could sense it. B16. Doing some chores around the yard when I hear familiar voices. It's my mom and dad. I walk towards their voices, kinda tearing up because I haven't seen them since I was like 4 and the only reason I remember them are angry but glad at the same time. My parents are standing at the edge of grandfather's property. Anon, it's us, let's go home now. So many things I want to yell at them, but it's like I'm too choked up. Remember grandfather didn't tell me my parents would be coming for me. I'm going to bring grandfather. Oh but Anon, aren't you going to let your mother hug her own son? Notice something's wrong about it, but too emotionally shaken. Start crying like a little bitch and kinda stand there. The dogs are barking like crazy. I can hear Jin calling me for dinner from the house. My parents keep urging me to come over and give them a hug, go home, talk to them. Come on son, it's going to be a long drive home. Wait a second. Then where's your car? They go quiet, but soon try to play it off as a joke. I keep asking where their car is. They get angry and start threatening me with punishments, saying I'm breaking mom's heart, etc. I'm still sobbing and hyperventilating, not sure whether to go to them or run back home. I think Jin noticed and told grandfather, because he came out with a dog on leash. The dog starts growling and this old leathery Korean fart bellows like a goddamn ox. Leave my grandson alone, fucking creatures. My parents let out something like a cross between a bird screeching and an old door creaking, then disappear into the grass. For some reason grandfather never speaks of this again. This shit still chokes me up a little. I have a few more stories that are too mundane. Oh look, there's a ghost. Oh now he's gone, so I'll be posting them for the next few hours. Here's how our toughest dog died. Relatives come to visit for the weekend. Jin's cousins come too. One is a guy about 5 years older, the other is a guy 2 years older than us. There's also a girl, but she just sits in the kitchen and does Bible study with grandmother all day, so we just ignore her. We try to get along at first, but the cousins are just too boisterous. Yelling cuss words in the mountains, throwing rocks at deer, etc. Eventually we just let them do their own thing. It turns out while Jin, grandfather, and I went fishing, these fuckers went into the mountains and found a small family graveyard. Korean family graveyards are tiny, with 4 or 5 bodies buried at most, especially if you find one in the rural areas. Anyways, these fuckers trashed the place, kicking down shrines and littering everywhere. They came home after they heard someone crying and got scared. Grandfather is seething, but he doesn't say anything. He doesn't expect city kids to understand. For the next few days we see angry ghosts at the edge of our property hissing at our dogs, but not able to come any closer because of our white jindos. We leave offerings around the property, but they're pissed as hell and won't stop trashing our vegetable gardens. Grandfather genuinely looks stumped. One day our most prized tan jindo disappears. We think he may be hunting something, but he doesn't come home for days. Eventually we go out to look for him. Find his body, ripped to shreds, strewn around the trashed graveyard. His intact head is in front of the damaged shrine. Grandfather quietly covers his dog's head with a towel. Doesn't talk to us for a few days, just smokes his pipe out on the patio and stares into the mountains. I still miss the dog. I always think he sacrificed himself as an offering to save everyone else. In Korean mythology, magpies are harbingers of good luck and prosperity. It's said if you hear a magpie cawing in the morning, it means you'll have a friendly visitor later in the day. I like to think that magpies acted like a sort of guardian angel to me. My room is in the 2nd floor, right next to the persimmon tree in the garden. Magpies fucking love persimmons, and there are always a bunch of them near the house. Grandfather and I make a habit of leaving the persimmons at the very top when picking them from the tree, so that the magpies can help themselves. This is just at the level of my window, so I guess the magpies kinda associated seeing my face with food and general good vibes. Come home from school one day. For some reason I am really tired as fuck, so I take a nap. Magpies won't stop fucking cawing though. Some even bang and peck the window. Like an autist I yell "shut up birds" and try to sleep. They're too fucking loud. Swearing, I get up and storm out of the room to sleep somewhere else. As I turn to close the door, I catch a glimpse of something stuck to the ceiling. It's a motherfucking ghost. As I stare, its head turns towards me and it gives me the ugliest fucking look. But before it can react to me leaving the room, the magpies start cawing and banging at the window, and it turns its attention to the birds. Run out and alert grandfather. Guy grabs a pot and pan, runs up to my room, flings open the door, and starts banging the pot and pan while yelling "get the fuck out." Ghost hisses and slithers into the cracks of the wall. We knew someone died in that house before we moved in, we just didn't know the guy had hanged himself in my fucking room. We leave out an offering that night and I sleep on the couch. The next morning the offering is gone and we don't see that ghost again for a good 3 months. Whenever the ghost appears again,